I returned the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, but not for reasons that you may think. As you all know, I've been super passionate about the launch of the Galaxy S23 Ultra. I've made several videos about the device, and it's one that I think the community really enjoys. Overall, it's an amazing phone. It's made it really hard for me to go back to my iPhone because I feel like I'm losing out on some features that I really love and utilize, like the S Pen, the amazing camera stack, and something just as simple as multitasking. The large 6.8-inch Amoled display makes everything pop, from watching content to playing games, and the performance, thanks to the 8th Gen 2, makes it all a really compelling package for someone who just wants the best of the best currently in the Android realm. Though my device wasn't without its faults, and there was something that I actually noticed the second that I took it out of the package. It was a defect on the bottom right hand side of the display, and it just continued to bug me as time went on. But before we get into that though, a like and a sub to the channel is always appreciated. We're ever so close to 20,000 subscribers, and I just can't thank you all enough for the support that you've shown me. Seriously, it's been absolutely incredible. You're literally the only reason why I am continuing to do this and make these videos. Anyways, when I unboxed the S23 Ultra, I noticed something odd. It looked to me like there was an air bubble under the display, and after just paying 1,800 Canadian dollars, it didn't sit right with me. Though it wasn't something that you were able to see unless you looked for it, but in under any bright lighting condition, it stuck out like a sore thumb. When I show clips of the phone, you aren't really going to be able to see it just because the camera doesn't pick it up that well, and I actually don't have the phone on hand with me anymore, so I can't give you guys a closer up in terms of video. I really wish this is something that I recorded and thought about prior to actually sending the device back. But I will say that it is noticeable when you're looking at it, not through a display. Like, if I'm recording it with this camera, you probably won't see it too well, but in person, it definitely is annoying. I was initially gonna let it pass, but I posted it on Twitter, and it turns out a lot more people had this problem than I thought. I eventually decided that I'd live with it, thinking that perhaps this was just common with the S23 Ultra. It wasn't until I saw the phone in stores, and they didn't have it, and then until I asked some fellow creators, and they didn't have it as well, that I realized that this isn't just on every device. Like, this is somewhat of a defect. So I contacted Samsung, and although well past the return policy, I explained the situation and I told them that I believed that I had a defective device. This went on with various email chains, and honestly, it was kind of a pain in the ass. It took over 2 weeks, closer to 3 weeks, just to be able to get the return label sent to me once Samsung actually agreed and said that the phone was defective. Hence why they did allow me to return it well past the 30-day policy, because I believe that I returned it about 2.5 to 3 months into the phone actually being publicly released. But overall, the process was honestly far from simple. It was a nightmare, to say the least. At least here in Canada, Samsung support is honestly never something that I want to deal with ever again. I've had to contact them multiple times with other device inquiries, or even just issues about an order that I placed or an order that I'd like to send back. It is always an astronomical nightmare getting help with these guys. It was just like a never-ending emotional roller coaster, being told yes, no, and I was kind of defeated, feeling like I had just lost out on $1,800. I do plan to pick up another S23 Ultra, as that's the phone that served me as my daily driver ever since I got it, and it's one that I just truly love using. But I decided at the moment to use a couple of other devices for the time being. I actually ordered a base Galaxy S23 in lavender, as well as a Pixel 7 Pro. I figured that I'd like to give the S23 a shot since it's not a phone that I've actually used or handled, and I feel like the Pixel 7 Pro kind of deserves a little bit of a redemption arc from me, especially this late into the game. And now that it's matured with a ton of updates since launch, I feel like it could be a contender and actually get me excited for Pixels again, nearing the launch of the Pixel Fold and even potentially the Pixel 7a that I'm thinking about picking up. I would eventually like to be back on the S23 Ultra, though if the S23 is the one that I end up enjoying or the Pixel 7 Pro flips the Google Switch for me, I'd either stick with one of those devices or pre-order the Pixel Fold immediately. I am hoping that the Pixel Fold's a device that just does it well and is one that really wows me, because it'll be nice to have another exciting phone to talk about, at least here in North America. Us smaller creators don't actually just have the liberty of getting these devices sent to us for review, and I'm not saying that that's something that I expect or even really hope to happen in the near future. I'm totally okay with paying my own money for phones that I talk about on this channel. It just means that I cherry pick the devices that I want to talk about, because if I'm spending my own hard-earned money on it, I want to buy a device that I actually care about. And that's the one thing that kind of makes this whole thing a little bit harder, is that if devices were coming left and right in the mail, I feel like I'd have a lot more to talk about here on this channel. So when it comes to the Pixel Fold, that definitely is a phone that I'm interested in, and one that I will definitely be making content on, because I'm just really excited to take a look at it. Because as you all know, the Fold 4 was really the one that blew me away last year and exceeded basically all of my expectations that I had since having tried out the Fold 3. So to be able to talk about and cover another folding phone is just something that I'm honestly really excited for. Back to the S23 Ultra though, there is really no denying how good this phone is. I think Samsung nailed it when it comes to pretty much all aspects of the device. As someone who came from the S22 Ultra, jumping to the S23 may not have felt like a big upgrade at first, but as time went on, it was a much more refined experience, with attention to detail being put where the S22 Ultra really needed it the most. It's an insanely snappy phone. The battery life, in my opinion, is still king in the flagship space, and I just truly do enjoy everything about it. So if you stumbled across this video, don't let the title discourage you, because if you're actually out there looking to pick up a Galaxy S23 Ultra, I have tons of videos on my channel covering the device, and I'm sure that you can go ahead and watch those reviews and see how positively I speak about the phone. When it comes to this case, yes, it's a little bit of me kind of cherry picking and just being a little harsh on the fact that it had that small defect. But like I said, when you're paying that kind of money for a phone, especially outright out of your pocket, it's very hard to kind of just sit there and stare at that knowing that it shouldn't be there. And while I do know that this issue is somewhat kind of widespread, at least if you do end up purchasing this phone, you can just utilize the return policy from most major big box stores and you'll be fine. To be fair though, I am the reason why this whole thing took quite a long time. Like, I could have easily just seen the problem and got a replacement sent to me pretty much the day that I actually picked up the phone, but I ended up getting the device actually delivered to me a couple of days prior to the actual release date, even though I bought it just like anyone else would regularly do it, and I decided to keep it because it was a really good chance for me to actually make content on it and get some videos up a little bit earlier. And that's something that I don't regret doing, but I am kind of annoyed that this whole process kind of got strung along just because of that. So no, I'm not abandoning the S23 Ultra. It's just at this current point in time, I'm going to be taking a look at some other devices that I wouldn't really have the interest in taking a look at. So if you want to see my opinions and stuff on the Pixel 7 Pro and the S23, you can go ahead and follow me on Twitter, where I'll be posting regularly at valismind. And make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, leave a like down below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.